back to the channel, people. So as you can already tell by the title and you can see by this video, I'll be doing some fried fish, some escovitch fried fish for you today, of course Jamaican style, of course. So as you can see, I've already gone ahead and cut up the fish. I got them pre-scaled, cleaned up already, but I still went in, cleaned it up. You know, sometimes I buy a pre-scale and it is like they never scale it at all, so I had to still go back in and scale it up a little to ensure that all the scales were off the fish, right? So now I'm just going to add some seasoning. I'm not going to add any natural seasoning, I'm just going to add powdered seasoning. I'll be using, of course, as usual, the Maggi all-purpose seasoning. But before I add the seasoning, this is a major pro tip for you guys. You cannot fry wet fish. If you want your fish to come out crispy and nice, you have to dry it off. And this is the stage, the point at which I usually dry off my fish, because it don't make sense to add the seasoning and then you dry off the fish. You're going to rub off the seasoning. So at this point, after you clean up your fish, if you want to cut it up, if you want to fry it whole, whatever, but after that you dry your fish. I'll be drying my fish with some paper towel, so I'm just going to do that now. Okay, so I'm just going to change the container as I go along. I'm going to just pat it, since the dish that I was using before, it was wet, and I don't want, when I dry off the fish, if I put it back in the same wet dish, I'll have to, it will get wet back, it will get wet again, and it will defeat the purpose. So I'm going to change the container or the dish, whatever I'm using to put the fish into. So once I dry it off, I'm just going to put it in this plate instead of putting it back in the same wet dish that it's coming out of. Repeat myself a million times, but I just want to make sure that you understand what I'm saying. So that's what I'm doing now. Okay, so as you can see, the fish is dried, or dried to an extent. Obviously it's not going to be paper dry, but when you do this, when you add this step to the process of frying fish, it prevents the fish from sticking, and you don't want your fish to stick, because if it stick, it's gonna mash up, point blank period. So after this, now we can add the all-purpose seasoning, or whatever seasoning you want to use at this point. It's up to you. As I said, I'm using the Maggi all-purpose seasoning, as you can see right here. I'm just going to go ahead and add it to the fish. As I tell you, when I'm seasoning my whatever I'm seasoning, I just make sure that the seasoning is on all parts of the fish. So yeah, also what you can do, since it's fish and it's not a lot, you can turn it. Once you season that part, you can turn them, and then put the seasoning on the other part of the fish. Also, when you use powder seasoning, it adds to the dryness of the fish as well. Dry in terms of when you're frying it, not dry in terms of how it is, because we're not eating dry fish per se, but we want it to be dry for cooking, for frying. So you just ensure that the seasoning is added. You put a good amount of seasoning on the fish. That is another point I need to make. When you're seasoning fish, you have to somewhat over season the fish, because when you fry you lose a lot of the seasoning in the oil when you're frying. Whatever you're frying, especially if it's not coated with flour. You're going to lose a good amount of the seasoning. It's going to leave, you're going to drop off of the fish or the chicken or whatever you're frying, especially fish. So when you're frying fish, kind of over season it just a bit. So now I'm just going to massage the seasoning into the fish. Make sure it's well seasoned up, and then you can add some on the inside as well. Just ensure that the seasoning is on all parts of the fish, right? Because you don't want your fish to be under seasoned. I'm just going to go in on the side, up in at the head, just season them up. So for me, I think the fish is still somewhat wet, and this is one of the reasons why too over seasoning is good, because now I'm going to go back over the fish, just pat it a bit to get off some more of the water. Because when you're frying a fish, the main thing is not, you don't want it to stick. And there are a couple of ways in which you can prevent that. One being to get the fish as dry as possible. So I'm going to go back in with a paper towel and just patch it up, damp it up with the paper towel again, just a little bit, not too much to take off the seasoning. So we're ready to fry now, but before we put in the fish, we'll have to season the oil. So for me, I'm going to use pepper and garlic. You can also add ginger, you can add thyme, but I'm just going to add pepper and garlic for my seasoning. When you add whatever seasoning you're using, you want to let it sit for a bit, fry up, and then you can either fry it with the fish, fry the fish with the seasonings in the pot, or you can take them out. I'm going to take out mine after they fry a while, maybe leave 1 and 2 in there. So that's what I'm gonna do now. So there we have it. The seasoning is in the oil. So I'm just going to let it season up the oil, let it marinate in the oil, and then I'll come back and take them out and put in the fish. So this is how you want the seasonings to be when you're seasoning your oil. You want them burnt right out. As I said before, you can choose to leave them in there to season up the oil to the maximum amount, or you can take them out. I'm going to take them out because I don't like when I'm frying fish and there are other things in the pot impeding me. So I'm going to take all of them out. I'm going to leave the seeds that you can see over here, but I'm going to take out everything else and then put in the fish. You see my pot, you can tell by the smoke that the pot is definitely very hot, and this is how you want the pot to be when you're frying fish. You can't fry fish on cold oil or cold pot. It's not going to fry good. You have to ensure that the oil is very hot. So I'm going to take out my seasonings now. As you see, they're burning up, so I'm going to take them out and put in the fish. I'll come back when the fish is in the pot. So there we have it. The fish are in the pot and they're sizzling, and this is how you want your fish to fry, right? And then when it's fried on one side, you just turn it over and fry the next side. So this is how we're looking. I just flip them and they're just sizzling on the other side now, and then I'll take them out shortly and put them on some absorbent paper. So this is the next batch frying up now. Turn these, but I'm going to turn them back to fry a bit more. I didn't turn this one, but yeah, this is how we are working so far, so good. So there we have it. Nice crispy fried fish. The finished product looks so good. Get into it. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video. Peace.